every day, and little old Bob carrying the hamburger in his checkered overalls is the same Bob that you remember from back through the years. And of course, if you want to go in for a great lunch, remember their classic burger, the original double-deck hamburger combination. Delicious 100% pure ground beef in 2 patties with American cheese, lettuce, and our famous Big Boy special sauce. The name is Bob, and I think when you go in, you'll say, by golly, I'm sure glad that I found this restaurant because it's good for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They've got all kinds of things, and all you have to do is remember. Bob's Big Boy in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. It's a great place to eat.
Hello, CRN listeners. This is Michael Horn, inviting you to join me and my co-host, Sommelier Nicole Nielsen from Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, as we present What's Cooking on Wine. Find out about the latest trends in wine, great food, spirits, and a whole lot more. It's What's Cooking on Wine, done live at 6 o'clock Monday nights at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Pasadena, California, and then the replays throughout the weekend right here on CRN. So if you love wine and you love great food, it's What's Cooking on Wine right here on CRN.
Live across America, the PM Show with Mike Horn on CRN Digital Talk Radio.
Hey, welcome here to the Big PM Show, nationwide, coast to coast, CRN Digital Talk Radio. I am Michael Horn along with Paul Stern. How you doing, Paul?
Doing very good, actually, even better than usual.
Why? What's going on?
Because we got a special guest on today's program.
Oh, we do? Who's on the show today?
We got one of the greatest, one of the legendary kind of comedians of all time. He can do impressions, he can tell jokes, he does it all. He was one of the great guests on TV talk shows, the best. Rich Little.
Yeah, Rich Little, the man of 1,000 voices. I'll tell you, he's got a new book out called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little, and it'll be kind of interesting to get his story and find out how he started and got going, and how he started doing the voices and the impersonations too. He's good. He does a lot of impersonations, and some new, some old, and got some of the good old good ones and the good new ones. I always enjoy watching him anytime he's on a TV show or doing a live performance.
Kind of a throwback to the days when the comedy was king.
Yep.
You know, when it was really a big draw. I don't know if it's as big of a draw as it once was.
He is doing a show, I think. I think it's a big draw. I think he's at the Laugh Factory there at the Tropicana, I think is where that is. And he does a show. They're dark Monday, but he's doing a show in the evening hours there at the Tropicana. So I got to get up to Las Vegas and see that show. Should be good.
Should be very good. Rich Little, he was kind of always a headliner, though. I mean, when you talk about a draw, he was kind of like Bank. I mean, you got Rich Little on the marquee, you know you're going to get a crowd.
Well, I think that still kind of goes with the word, don't you think? I think that if you see Rich Little, people still tend to gravitate toward him as an entertainer.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's like I said, he's a big name. But you know, the kids in comedy today, they kind of all blend together, and it's hard to kind of say. Some of those.
What do you mean they blend together?
Well, they all kind of either they look the same, they sound the same, they do the same type of jokes. I mean, Rich Little is
kind of off color. He used to do some good. Rich Little works clean.
Well, he's an original. I mean, he can kind of grab a hold of kind of the day's events and kind of put them into perspective, and he kind of puts a funny spin on things.
What do you mean by an original?
Well, I mean that he's just a classic going back to the days of like a Frank Sinatra, a Las Vegas original. You know, one of the big names that you would see in lights. Sammy Davis. You would see Lola Falana. You would see a Rich Little.
Lola Falana. Where'd you come up with that one? I haven't heard that name in a while. Big singer, wasn't she? Lola Falana?
A very big singer.
Big Las Vegas act. That was good stuff when he had Lola Falana. That was part of the old Dean Martin show, wasn't it?
Dean Martin, absolutely.
Dina Martin carries the torch now. She does good singing her dad's songs.
Yeah, she does very good, actually. Absolutely.
So,
but you know, some of the people. I mean, again, I hate to be a tough critic, but I'm a tough customer. And
who do you see? Who's a must-see on your list?
Boy, a must-see today?
Yeah, in the past and today.
Well, in the past, of course, you got your Frank Sinatras, you got your Rat Packers, your Dean Martin, your Sammy Davis. You know, those of that ilk are they're must-see Vegas. If you can go see them, if you can still go see them, go see them. You can still go see Rich Little. Rich Little would be a must-see. If I was driving into Las Vegas and I saw that Rich Little was performing, I would go to Rich Little, let's say, before I would go to a Celine Dion.
Kind of one of the iconic, not only TV and actors and performers, but one of the iconic performers in Vegas.
I would do that. I would expect a real show.
I saw Don Rickles recently at the Saban Theater in Beverly Hills, and even though he's not getting around a lot and he's sitting down, he's still got the timing. He's still got everything together.
That I would put Rich Little in the
Well, Rich Little's a much younger man, but what can I tell you? But I wonder if Rich Little can do Don Rickles.
I don't know.
Boy, there you go.
I don't know if anybody would dare do Don Rickles for fear of what might happen afterwards.
Stand by, Rich Little coming up here, the PM show. CRN, Michael Horn, Paul Stern.
Are your muscles and joints always tired? Hi, Willie Hayes here for Original Blue Emu Super Strength Cream. The easiest way to soothe those tired muscles and joints. Original Blue Emu is not like any ordinary cream. It's America's #1 emu oil formulated topical cream. It's odor-free and simple as 1, 2, 3. Find out why there's so many loyal users. Give Original Blue Emu a try today. Yes, I said today. Available at nationwide retailers.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I'm back for ink. Seems like I was here yesterday. It's like deja vu.
Well, now at Staples, buy any HP ink and get the second 40% off.
So I get 2 cartridges and save money? No more deja vu.
Now at Staples, buy any HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Deja vu joke. I get it.
Buy 1 HP ink, get the second 40% off. Staples. Make more happen.
Ends 10/8/16 applies to regular priced items only. Cannot be combined with other offers. Exclusions apply. See store or staples.com for details. Limit 2 per customer, 1 per transaction, non-transferable.
Welcome back. It's the PM show. Michael Horn and Paul Stern. Now, ladies and gentlemen, stepping out onto a stage at the Tropicana from Las Vegas. Please give a warm welcome to the one and only Rich Little. How you doing, Rich?
Good. You know, if you were insulted by Don Rickles, you had made it, I'll tell you.
That is
Your career
true.
was going.
That is very true, isn't it?
Yes, it is. He
Well,
didn't hold back from anybody. Presidents, queens, kings, he was always Don Rickles.
And you're an iconic legend, too. We had you on our morning show, on our nationwide What's Cooking show, and just had you only for 10 minutes and didn't have enough time to really give you a chance. And we want to talk about your new book out. It's called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been, by Rich Little, and talk about what you're doing in Vegas and just talk about your career. First off, you are playing in Vegas. It's at the Tropicana, correct?
Right. 5 nights a week.
So you're doing what nights? They're dark on Monday, so what are you doing?
I'm dark on Mondays and Fridays.
Oh, Fridays. That's nice. It gives you a night on the town. How did you work that one out?
I don't know. They pick the days. You don't know what days they'll pick. You know, I guess they figure out how many people are in town, and for some reason Friday isn't a good day. I guess because people are coming into town and they're not settled yet.
Well,
so they figure that Friday isn't a great day. Monday, I have no idea why they gave me Monday off, but they do.
Well, if we come to town, then it gives us a chance to take you out to dinner on either a Friday or a Monday, and we'll head out somewhere and talk a little bit, Rich, because we love you. When did you know you had the show business bug? Are you a Canadian? Were you from the Canada area?
Yeah, I'm a Canadian.
You're a Canuck.
I am a Canadian. I knew Ted Cruz personally, you know.
So what was
that?
that?
I was born in Ottawa. I was born in Ottawa, the capital city, and came down in 1964 to do the Judy Garland show. My gosh, 64! I was just 8 years old, but I.
So that was one of the great TV shows on CBS, as I recall, and nobody knew who you were, and they all knew who Judy Garland was, but you kind of captivated them because you were doing the impressions already at that time, weren't you?
Yeah, that was my first TV show in the States. You know, I've been doing a lot of TV in Canada, but Mel Torme, the singer, and he was terrific with me because he was quite a movie buff, and he had me put all my impressions down on a tape and played it for Judy Garland.
Wow. Well, when did you
And
start?
She wasn't impressed, by the way.
Wait. So Judy, Mel Torme brings your material, plays it to Judy Garland, and she's not impressed. How do you get the gig on the show?
Not particularly. I'll tell you why. She didn't like impersonators for some reason. I don't know why. But she said to Mel, I'm not crazy about impersonators, but I'll listen to the tape. And so he played this tape, and I was doing people that nobody else had done, like Fred McMurray and Lloyd Bridges and Alfred Hitchcock, and And she said, he's pretty good. But when I did James Mason, that's when she came alive, because she made that movie A Star Is Born with James Mason.
Oh, boy.
And they were very close, extremely close. And when I did James Mason, she just lit up and said, book him on the show.
Wow.
So I have James Mason to thank for my career.
So on this audition tape, first off, you did Fred McMurray, the iconic actor, Flubber, all the Disney movies. He was My Three Sons. So many, what a great career! And what he was popular at the time with the My Three Sons show, wasn't he?
Oh, sure. And before that, he made movies for Walt Disney and all, like the Shaggy Dog and things like that.
What did you say on the tape as Fred McMurray? What would be a sample?
Well, I think I did a bit from Double Indemnity.
Oh yeah, what'd you do?
I did one of the speeches from Double Indemnity, if I can remember it. Let's see, Double Indemnity, Fred McMurray.
Yes.
McMurray. You thought you had me cold, didn't you, Keys? All wrapped up in tissue paper with pink ribbon around it. Well, you forgot one thing. You know, he had that kind of a bumbling, stumbling kind of a voice, you know.
Yeah, exactly. He was the absent-minded professor.
Yeah, but he was very good in Double Indemnity. That sort of changed his career around from sort of a light comedian to a serious actor. And, I got to know him fairly well, and he used to say to me, Rich, I wish you could come on the set and do some of my scenes for me so I could do other things.
I love it. And you did Lloyd Bridges, and Lloyd was hot at the time. He had that big series Sea Hunt on television, didn't he?
That's right. Underwater can be dangerous, folks, so wear a swimsuit, will you? See you next week, huh?
See you next week.
And so funny, I sat next to Lloyd Bridges. I'm going way back, years ago when I first came down from Canada. I was sitting next to Lloyd Bridges in the theater, and I didn't realize it was him until he started to speak. And he said, hey, I saw you on television doing me, and I don't know how anybody does me because there's not anything distinctive about my voice, huh? I mean, listen to my voice, huh? My voice is not that distinctive, huh? And I went, huh?
And he was narrating that Sea Hunt show, and something always happened. He goes, then it happened, right? That's always a problem when he was underwater.
Yeah, I remember I did a joke like I was underwater. Suddenly a diver in front of me was in trouble. He had no swimsuit on, he had no goggles, he had no mask, he had no air. And I said, I wrote down on a little chalkboard, what's wrong? And he wrote back, I'm drowning, you idiot.
And so Judy hears those, and she says, okay, that's all right, but now what did James Mason do that just caught her eyes?
Well, it's so funny, because James Mason was the reason I got on the Garland Show.
Right.
So I meet James Mason a couple of years later at an American Film Institute tribute to John Huston. I happened to be there, and he walked in, and of course I was a huge fan. And I went up to him, and out of the blue, he didn't know who I was, and I just said, Mr. Mason, Rich Little, I do an impression of you. And he said, what on earth for? And he walked away.
That's a perfect James Mason.
Yeah, and I said, no, I imitate you. And he said, is some money in it? I said, well, I don't know, I guess, if I do you in my show. What on earth for?
That's a great James Mason. That was great.
And then I said, I thank you for getting me on the Garland Show. And he didn't know what the hell I was talking about. He must have thought I was a lunatic.
So you get
what would that mean?
Yeah, exactly. You get on the Garland Show. Was it like just for one night, and all of a sudden people liked you and it took off, or did you get signed for a few weeks?
Well, no. The Garland Show introduced me to an American audience, and I was doing voices that nobody else had done. So I was a bit different from most impersonators were doing, James Cagney and Everett G. Robinson and people like Cary Grant, people like that. But, doing offbeat kind of impressions really helped for me because it was different. And so after I did the Garland show, I really got on a lot of television. I did the Sullivan Show, the Donald O'Connor show that was popular then. I did Steve Allen. Oh my gosh, I did a lot of TV right after that.
And now the pinnacle of your career, you're doing the PM show with Michael Horn and Paul Stern. We love Rich Little. Hang in.
I've come a long way.
Haven't you? Rich, you've really come to the top. The book is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little. More with Rich straight ahead. Stay with us here on CRN.
Hi, this is Fred Dreyer. I've tackled a few roles in my time on the football field, in movies and television, and right here behind the broadcast microphone. Today I've taken on a new role to tell you about the local experts at Solar Optimum. Solar Optimum is California's leading provider of high-quality, affordable solar energy. And now they're offering a special deal you won't want to miss. So listen up. Through October 31st, Solar Optimum is offering a complete solar energy system with no money down and no monthly payments during the first year of ownership. And after the first year, payments are a low $76. Plus, not a single penny goes toward upfront costs. Best of all, you own the system. How great is that? Call 818-745-1489 today to get in on this offer. That's 818-745-1489.
Monthly payment available on approved credit. Complete details available at solaroptimum.com. California license number 9722228.
When you really want Italian food, really good Italian food, you've got to go to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Why? Well, here's a couple of reasons. Value. You get a lot for your money along with a load of deliciousness. You're not eating corporate food. Columbo's is family owned and faithful to their long-held family recipes. We're talking service that's never fawning. You'll never get, "Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'll be your server tonight." Please. Jazz every night, sizzling steaks, luscious fish entrees, yummy Italian specialties, and the world's greatest meatballs. Need I say more? Oh, I will. Value, deliciousness, Italian family specialties, friendly service. Columbo's. Yes! That little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's. Mangia.
Attention, this important consumer alert is brought to you by CBC Funding. Hey, did you know it's possible to receive upfront money from your structured settlement, annuity, or pending lawsuit? It's true. If you are receiving a structured settlement spread out over time and you want a lump sum amount delivered immediately, then you need to call CBC Funding. With your cash today, you can pay off credit card debt, pay medical bills, fund your education, or improve your home. You don't need to wait. Structured settlements are commonly used to resolve personal injury lawsuits. Annuities, they're designed to spread payments out over 10 or 20 years. For many of you in need of money today, this simply does not work. If you have a structured settlement and you want cash now, call CBC Settlement Funding. Here's the number: 800-303-4607, 800-303-4607, 800-303-4607.
We are back here on the PM show. Michael Horn, Paul Stern, CRN Digital Talk Radio. What a show. Got the great American icon Rich Little, a legendary impressionist. He's got a new book out. You can get it at bookstores everywhere. It's called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been. Rich Little, who is now in Vegas, by the way, at the Tropicana Hotel every day of the week except Monday and Friday when they're dark. But you can check him out at the club there that he's got. He's got his Rich Little live show at, I think, is it the Laugh Factory? Is that where you're at inside the Tropicana?
Yeah, the Laugh Factory. And the interesting thing about this show that I'm doing is that I'm doing kind of a mini history of my career.
Great.
So what I do is I do my John Wayne impression, and then I show me with John Wayne. Then I do George Burns. I show me with George Burns.
Oh, wow.
Jack Benny, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra. So it's a mixture of me live and film.
Love that.
Then the other thing I do that nobody knows is that I draw. I sketch. So I've got all the people I imitate. I've got a sketch of them, and so the show is really me talking about my career, the sketches, and then all the film clips.
You're amazing, and you grew up in Canada. We established that earlier, and your family was not in show business. As I recall, your dad was a doctor, wasn't your mom a housewife? How did you get the bug,
That's
and
right.
when did you start performing? Did you do this in school? Did you do it for your parents, friends? What happened?
I was one of those kids that grew up sort of idolizing movie actors. You know, a lot of the other kids that I knew idolized sports people, but I was interested mostly in movies and comedians, and so I had my idols growing up, and Jimmy Stewart, Jack Benny, George Burns, John Wayne, you know, all these people. And then to think that within 10 to 12 years later, from when I was a teenager, I would get to know them personally and work with all of them. And so that was the biggest thrill of my career, was the people I've met.
Yeah,
you know that?
and you started doing these when you're 15. Where did you perform? In like your classroom for your parents? What did you do?
Well, yeah, I imitated my teachers, you know, and it wasn't long before the teachers were charging a 2-drink minimum on a cover charge. You know,
That's great. That's great.
But then I can remember I went down to the Copacabana, one of my first big dates in the States. And all my teachers that I've been imitating in Ottawa, Canada, and they knew that I imitated them, they all went down to the Copa to see me imitate them. Well, I couldn't do my teachers in front of an American audience. They all got upset, and they went back to Canada.
You got to do them in front of your kids' eyes. Plus, didn't you get dates? We talked about that on the morning show, where you would get girls by being somebody else.
Well, yeah, that's sort of true. In other words, I'd find out what a girl's favorite movie star was, and if it was Cary Grant, I'd phone her up and say, "Oh, listen, I was just wondering if you were busy on Friday night, and maybe we could take in a movie, you know." And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. You know, I think I finally gave that up after some girl said her favorite star was Lassie, and then
That's good.
That was the end of that.
You played clubs in Canada before you came to the States, and one of them, you did all your great impressions, but it was a French club or something? They didn't speak English? Tell us that story.
Oh, yeah. You've been reading up on me. Yeah. My manager put me in a town in Quebec, which is all French in Canada, a place called Chicoutimi, and I was a feature entertainer. Well, I didn't know it. Nobody spoke English. Nobody. So I'm out there doing, my John Wayne and all my voices, and Jimmy Stewart and whoever, and Humphrey Bogart, Clark Gable, and they're just staring at me. And that actually happened. Similar thing happened later in my career when I played the Sands Hotel with Jack Jones.
Oh, really?
And then Jack and Trotta, who was in charge of the Sands, during the Rat Pack days. But anyway, I was opening for Jack Jones, and we were such a hit, we were held over an extra day. And we were all excited, and and I came out on stage and got no reaction at all. They had booked an all-German audience that had come over from Germany on some special flight. And they didn't tell me, and I died, and I couldn't figure out what the heck is going on. And they were all standing in the wings, Jack Jones and Jack and Trotto and all the help, laughing.
They loved
silly.
it.
Well, I died, yeah.
Rich Little, you're the best. Hang in here. We're going to talk a little more. The great Rich Little is with us. His book is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been. We'll find out about some of those people here when we come back. The book is by Rich Little. It's at bookstores everywhere.
All right.
Amazon.com.
We'll pause for 12 commercials.
Pause for 12 commercials, because you're an old disc jockey. I want to talk about that when we come back.
I know that commercials are important. When you get behind, you're in trouble.
That is right. And hopefully we got some celebrities here in the commercials. We'll be back with Rich Little. Stay with us on the PM Show. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California, the #1 Italian restaurant in Orange County. Angelo's and Vinci's features specialty salads, homemade pastas, chicken dishes, supreme seafood, meatballs, and award-winning pizzas, thin or thick crust. And October is National Pizza Month, so come join us for traditional pizzas or any style pizza you desire. And this month we feature our new Sicilian garbage pizza. It includes everything but the kitchen sink. And don't forget our fresh-baked, hot, homemade bread with delicious dipping sauces, Kalamata olive or sun-dried tomato. Sunday, it's our champagne brunch, just $18.95. Over 20 scrumptious items, including fresh-baked Belgian waffles and omelets made to order. For dessert, we have tiramisu flown in from Italy, homemade cannolis, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's is your destination for private parties, weddings, birthday parties, and all holiday events. 20,000 square feet of fun and food, and voted best Italian restaurant in Orange County. Angelo's and Vinci's, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton, California. Lunch and dinner 7 days a week, 714-879-4022.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
Any Napa guy knows, and science proves, the best minivan is the one you've already got. Part kid transporter, part drywall mover. Who cares if the faux wood grain is a little faded? That was a platinum package option in 1987. With over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. Because it's not old, it's vintage. That's Napa know-how.
All right, guys, while I have your attention, I want to tell you about my friends at Liberty HealthShare. And just so you know, the healthcare exchange is just around the corner, so listen up. If you're running into that dilemma of trying to decide whether to pay your bills or pay your healthcare, Liberty HealthShare might have that answer for you. Or let's just say you're somebody who's enrolled in something else and you're just not happy. Well, guess what? Liberty has the answer for you as well. See, Liberty members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on people for not having healthcare insurance, thus giving you freedom from insurance. It's a beautiful thing. Liberty HealthShare members are also able to use any doctor or hospital across the country, and they're able to do this based on their members' commonly held principles and values. Liberty HealthShare has memberships for individuals, couples, families, offering a huge variety of options to suit any medical need. So if you want more information about how to join, give them a call at 855-585-4237 or visit libertyhealthshare.org online. Do it today.
Back on the PM show, CRN Digital Talk Radio. I'm Michael Horn along with Paul Stern. The great Rich Little is with us. The new book is out. It is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little. He is performing live in Vegas for you every week. He's there, I think, till January, maybe even beyond that. I know he's been extended through January for sure. I'm going up. Paul, you going?
I definitely am. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, we're going to get up there and see Rich. He's there at the Tropicana at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club every night, but Monday and Friday when they're dark, and you can catch that show. He's there at 7 o'clock every night. Should be a great Great broadcast. All right, so Rich Little, thanks again for being with us. We love you. And Paul and I, before we went on the air, we all love some of the great iconic people you've done. But I think one of the greats was George Burns. If George found out that you wrote a book, he'd be pretty happy about it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd say to me, Rich, I've read your book, you know, and what's it about? And I'd say, well, George, it's about 300 pages. He said, don't get smart with me. I'll be the funny one. You be the straight man. Yeah.
It's absolutely the greatest Jack Benny of all.
He was terrific. George Burns had a mind, you know.
And
George, right up to 100, he could remember things that were unbelievable.
He had a great way. And also sharp, and he was a friend of his, too, was Jack Benny, and you did a great Benny.
Well, gee, Jack was a wonderful man. He really was. And, everybody thought he was cheap, but he wasn't, Gosh. But I love Jack, and I love George Burns, too. They were so nice to me, when I was first starting out.
And you would be on their show as a guest. They'd have, Jack Benny had you on the show just so you could sit there and do them, and he'd get all upset about the whole thing.
Well, one time, early in my career, I did the Steve Allen show, and Jack was in the audience, and I didn't know he was there.
Oh, no.
And I started to do my Jack Benny on stage, and I heard this voice from the back of the theater say, wait a minute, hold it. And he stood up and came up on stage. The audience applauded, and he said, you're doing me all wrong. I said, what do you mean? He said, listen, when you put your hand up to your mouth, you should use 3 fingers, not 4. You can get a bigger laugh because 3 is funnier than 4.
That's Jack Benny. That is him. And you brought up the name now in your current show when you put up the film of you with the people you impersonate, the great John Wayne.
Well, Duke, one time I was doing, I did a series for Screen Gems called Love on a Rooftop, which nobody remembers. But when I was shooting one day, John Wayne was doing Laugh-In in the studio next to the one we were in.
Right.
And I went over and just stood in the back. And I just stood there for a while watching Wayne. He was dressed up in a bunny outfit. I don't know what he was doing, but must have been funny. But anyway, this was on Laugh-In, and I'm standing in the back. I didn't even think he noticed me, but he did. And I started to leave, and he yelled out, hold it, little, get the hell over here. So I went over, and I thought, oh, my God, is he upset with me for imitating him, or what's going on here,
Yep.
And he said, don't you leave this studio without showing me how I do my walk. I'm losing it. And so I showed John Wayne in front of everybody how to do his walk. And I walked like John Wayne right across the studio. And he looked at me and he said, well, hell, that's how I do it, huh? I've been walking like Loretta Young for 50 years.
I love this. I love it. And Ronald Reagan loved you, too, didn't he? You did all the presidents.
Reagan was the best. Reagan was the best audience I've ever worked in front of.
Why do you say that?
God, he would laugh when I would do him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he once said to me, he said, Rich, I think you do me better than I do. So when I step down as president, you should carry on just talking my voice and become president. And I said, well, that's a nice compliment, but first of all, I can't be president, Mr. President, because I'm a Canadian. Well, I can fix that.
You did both Bushes, right? You did Bush Jr. and Bush Sr.
Yeah, well, Senior always talk, like this. Okay, gotcha. Good idea. Gonna be prudent, And George W. was more like this. America. I'm happy to be here tonight in America. He talked more like that. And Senior was more, more pronounced, The other day, I was up in a plane, and I was going to parachute. I was 78 years old, going to parachute. And the pilot said, George, don't pull the cord until you're 10 feet from the ground. I said, wait a minute, 10 feet from the ground. Why? He said, that's just in case, the chute doesn't open, you won't have far to fall. I told that joke in front of him, and he was in hysterics. It's pretty corny, but he liked corny jokes, and Reagan loved corny jokes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my God, did he love jokes.
Well, you could tell he had a great sense of humor because he would laugh like uncontrollably.
Oh, Reagan! I mean, Reagan would fall down almost to the floor when I would do him. I've got some shots of him at the first and second inauguration where I performed, and he's just dying of laughter. I mean, God, it's just a great thing to watch. I have it in my show, and every night when I watch it, I think, oh, my God, he was the best, you know?
Rich Little is with us here. The book is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been. And talking about falling down, you did Gerald Ford. President Gerald Ford used to fall down a lot.
Gerald Ford was known for one word. Whoops.
And, of course, Bill Clinton's back on the campaign trail. He's an old friend of yours.
Bill Clinton's back on the campaign. You know, Hillary said to me the other night, Bill, come on. Won't it be great to see a woman back in the Oval Office? Oh, Jesus.
And how about Jimmy Carter? He had all those problems with those long gas lines.
Jimmy Carter, yeah, he talked kind of little short sentences, you know, like this. Jimmy Carter. I'd like to tell you about my career as president. Have you got a second?
Yes, I got a second. That's it. Rich Little, you are the absolute best. And we can't forget Lyndon Johnson because, he only just served the one term there, the second term, and then he said he wouldn't run.
That's right. Lyndon Johnson, when I first saw Rich Little, I picked him up by his ears.
For those of you that don't know, Lyndon Johnson used to pick his dog up by the ears and got in trouble for it. Apparently, he learned that by picking up Rich Little. Straight ahead, we continue here. We're going to find out about Rich as a DJ, as a radio DJ. Stay with us here on the PM Show. Rich Little with Michael Horn and Paul Stern.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Let's talk about power. To illustrate this, allow me to tell you a story about how I moved a tow truck 25 miles using only my index finger. I was stranded with a flat tire. I opened the Geico app. Then, with a few taps of my finger, I beckoned emergency roadside assistance and a tow truck to my car. I invite you all to unleash the full potential of your fingertips with the Geico app. Thank you.
It started at bunko night. A little tickle in my throat, says Sandra. Then comes Colin barking like a seal. That cough, that's the flu. And then it spreads to Edna, to Wiley, to Marjorie. But when it comes to your door, you won't be answering because you got your flu shot at Rite Aid, where they care about you and your health. So while they're seeing doctors and sweating through fevers, you'll be teaching your granddaughter the 2-deck shuffle. Shield yourself at Rite Aid before it's too late. If you're over 65, the CDC recommends flu and pneumonia shots. No appointments necessary, and they're free with Medicare Part B. Rite Aid. With us, it's personal. Flu vaccines available while supplies last. Age restrictions apply in some states. See pharmacy for details.
I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Mortgage rates have dropped again. In fact, recently, mortgage rates have dropped to the second lowest level in history. Now is the time for you to take advantage of these historically low rates and save serious money every month by refinancing your mortgage. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is all the way down to 3.5%, APR 3.57%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how far we can lower your mortgage payment. For 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year, they also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. It's a great time to refinance with Quicken Loans and save hundreds every month. This ultra-low rate of 3.5% won't last long. So call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Back on the PM Show, having fun with the legendary, iconic, true American icon, the great Rich Little. The book is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been. It's available at Amazon.com, bookstores everywhere. Rich also performing in Las Vegas. You got to get up to Vegas and check out the show. It's 7 o'clock. He's there every night of the week except Monday and Friday when the club is dark. He's at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club. That's there at the Tropicana Hotel. And, writing a book, Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little, a lot of his friends have stopped by to give personal endorsements, and I understand Jimmy Stewart is standing by. Jimmy, have you read this book?
No. Harvey has read it. I just haven't read it yet. I just haven't got around to it,
You're in it.
But I will read it. I'll just read the part he wrote about me.
And of course, the great President John F. Kennedy. You're in this book as well too.
Ask not what your country can do for you, but what Maryland can do for me. Isn't that the same?
That's the same. It's the same. Now, let's talk about you being a disc jockey, because we uncovered that little tidbit when we had you on our morning show. And when did you go into your disc jockey period? Was that in Canada, in the United States? Where was
that?
That
was in Canada. That was in a station not far from Ottawa, about 50 miles, called Smiths Falls, and I was there for a couple of years. And then I went to a station called CFRA in Ottawa, and I did the all-night show. It was the first show I did. Boy, that's a grind.
That's always.
But I think they hired me because I could imitate, because, I could read the news as David Brinkley, and I could do the women's show as Carol Channing or Dr. Ruth, and do the teenage show as Elvis Presley, and so it was a great vehicle for me to do voices, radio.
So David Brinkley was your newsman on your show?
That's right.
What would David do when you would throw it back and forth to him? Would that be like a fun
Well,
thing?
David Brinkley, if you remember, talked kind of like this, and that's it from Good Night, Chet. Bye-bye, David, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We did a little research, and apparently there was one April Fool's Day marathon you had on the air where you had a lot of guests on the show. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, that was at a station in Toronto called CFRB, and they
So wait. You were at CFRA, and then you graduated down to CFRB? Yep. That's good. Okay, go ahead.
I was moving up the ladder.
That's good.
No, I was going down the ladder, wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
CFRB, and then I did CFRC,
Yeah, that's good.
Later.
Okay, so,
but anyway, I did this station, CFRB, in Toronto, and they booked me on to do all the different shows and as celebrities as an April Fool's joke. It was April Fool's Day,
wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And apparently it must have gone over really well, and people must have believed these celebrities were there, because all of a sudden the station manager said, "We got about 100 people out here waiting for Elvis, waiting for John Wayne." I mean, they're all out there. They think the real people are here.
So you did the morning show as Jimmy Durante, right?
Yeah.
What kind of music did he play?
But Jimmy Durante, don't go away, folks. We got a great show for you. Here's a great song from the 40s, Jimmy Durante. What a guy.
And then,
but, the thing is, let me tell you what happened, though.
Yes.
All these people are waiting because they think the real stars are there, right?
Oh, yeah,
so
you had
the
everybody
station
there.
manager comes out and says, "I'm sorry, folks, but Elvis and Jimmy Stewart and John Wayne are not here. Rich Little did all their voices. It's Rich Little, not the real star."
Got a lot of applause. Got a lot of applause. They booed.
Threw things at me.
They threw things at you. I thought you'd get a lot of applause. So they threw things at you and they booed.
They booed at me. I mean, it was awful. One guy said, I've just driven 60 miles to see Elvis,
Well, what did Elvis say that brought him in there? I mean, Elvis, what did you do to make such a big stink?
Well, I don't know. I'll just get up there and just told them what they want to hear, and
I could remember an interview that a friend of mine did with Elvis way back when he first came on with Hound Dog, and this interviewer guy said, "Elvis, where do you live?" Well, I'm going to be moving to a place in Memphis, and to a house there. And the reason I got to move is, I've accumulated so much junk.
I think that interviewer was Wink Martindale. Didn't Wink do that interview with him? I think it could have been TV was Wink.
Well, Yeah, Wink is still with us. He's a great guy. I like him,
Wink is always with Elvis. And you had on that marathon show there at CFRB, the midday show, they always wanted women in there. So you did a cooking show, I understand, with Julia Child, the French chef.
Julia Child, yes, of course, You know how you make an apple turnover? You just give it one heck of a push,
That's it. That'll do it.
I mean, and Dr. Ruth, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Sex is like air. It's not important unless you don't get any.
Dr. Ruth, she's still with us. She could still do a good show. That would be the ultimate.
Still with us?
She is still with us. Dr. Ruth is still around.
I haven't seen her in years. I remember first time I met her, I was at some cocktail party and somebody was tugging on my coat. And I looked down, and I thought it was a munchkin from The Wizard of Oz.
And it was
Dr. Ruth.
Little Dr. Ruth was telling you. What did she say to you?
She said, Are you that fellow that's on those voices?
And I said, yes. Didn't I see you and the Wizard of Oz going,
well, the lollipop boys.
Yes, that was
she
her.
Said, no,
I think it was. All right, hang in here. Rich Little is with us. We want you to get the book. It is out now. It's called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more with Rich, find out about the show in Las Vegas that's over there at the Tropicana at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club every night of the week, except when they're dark on Monday and Friday at 7 o'clock. You can check it out. Stay with us. More straight ahead with the great Rich Little.
This is Larry Minetti for Herpanacin, the acne medication that really works from the inside out. If you suffer from skin problems, Herpanacin is the most unique and effective formula on the market. It cleans your skin from the inside out and gets rid of all kinds of acne and blemishes on your back, neck, and your face. It works so well, you can look and feel like a movie star. Herpanacin, a natural supplement created by Dr. Wayne Diamond. You take a pill, and that's it. I've been on these supplements, and they really work, folks. Don't be afraid to look in the mirror ever again. Get Herpanacin today. Call 888-467-4200. That's 888-467-4200. Herpanacin, it really works. 888-467-4200. Tell them Larry Minetti told you to call and look and feel like $1 million with Herpanacin. Call 888-467-4200.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
What a great PM show today. The incredible Rich Little is with us. One of the true American treasures. I don't care what. This guy, TV actor, comedian, impressionist. We found out he draws, also an artist. The book he's got out right now is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been by Rich Little. It's at Amazon.com. It's at bookstores everywhere. He's in Vegas at the Tropicana at the Laugh Factory Country Club every night of the week except Monday and Friday when they're dark. Show is on at 7 p.m. I'm Michael Horn along with Paul Stern.
Of course, one of the great pleasures I've always kind of recollect with fondness was always watching Rich Little as a guest on a television talk show. Whenever Rich would kind of come on a TV talk show, you always knew he was going to bring his A game, and it was going to be a good appearance.
I could almost hear right now Johnny Carson introducing the great Rich Little.
Johnny Carson. Boy, I tell you, Johnny Carson was probably, without a doubt, the greatest talk show host of all time. He really was. I thought he was the best, you know.
I think you did.
I had many great times with Johnny, and and when I did him in front of him, he got so embarrassed because I did all his mannerisms. I once did a routine on one of the roasts where I did all his mannerisms. There were 23 of them.
23? You got them down, huh?
And what I did was I told a joke that wasn't particularly funny, and then right after it, I did all the mannerisms.
Grabbing the old necktie, all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh yeah, and the necktie and the golf swing and the hands in the pockets, and he had 23 nervous ticks that he did, and sometimes when he'd see me on a show, he'd put his hands in his pocket and say, I'm not going to go there. This guy's going to destroy me, you know.
The great Rich Little is with us, and then Paul brought up the fact that you were you played the role of Johnny Carson in the Late Shift, that HBO movie that was on.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, I did.
And you've got other friends here in this book, Little by Little, People I've Known and Been, like the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California, and the great actor.
I didn't talk about Arnold because I didn't know him that well at all, so I didn't do them. The people I talk about in the book are, the icons: Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Judy Garland. I talk about Reagan. Hubert Humphrey was a great fan of mine, and Edward G. Robinson. I once did him in front of him, and. A lot of people, Stuart Granger, that not everybody knows, but I was a great friend of his.
And
swashbuckler from the 50s.
Yeah, and Hubert.
And, I talk about a lot of different people that I've known,
Hubert Humphrey ran for president there for a while and was the great senator, right?
Well, that's right. And the reason I didn't become president was I was under Lyndon Johnson, and he was pretty happy. But I'm as pleased as Punch. Wasn't that the thing you used to say? I'm as pleased as Punch to be here.
And you also...
one time I did. I was on Merv Griffin's show, and Hubert was on the show with his wife Muriel, and I did Humphrey, in front of him and Muriel, and Merv was getting a big kick out of it. And then Merv said to Muriel, his wife, "What did you think?" And she said, "I think that he's better than this old guy. I'm going home with him." She walked off the stage with me.
I love it. Rich, you are the greatest. We're out of time, but before we go, I want to mention that the book is called Little by Little, People I've Known and Been, written by you, Rich Little. It's available bookstores everywhere, Amazon.com, correct?
Well, thanks.
Thanks
for the plugs. I really appreciate it. My hair is getting a little thin, so I needed the plugs. So thanks.
That's very good. And
you guys were great.
Dr. Phil, thanks for being with us also, too. We appreciate it.
I know that you guys will finally get a job.
Check out Rich Little. He's in Vegas.
Being a disc jockey, I know your salary. I know that.
Thank you. That's right. Thank you very much, Dr. Phil. Check out Rich Little at the Laugh Factory at the Tropicana in Las Vegas. Thank you, Rich. We'll be back next show. Thanks.
It's been a pleasure.
CRN Digital Talk Radio prides itself on being the station of every situation. And you can listen to us on nearly any platform and device. Download to your iPhone, Android, and BlackBerry episodes of What's Cookin'. And take Master Sommelier Michael Jordan with you to the wine shop so he can help you pick out that perfect bottle of wine. Stream episodes of the Sonoma Wine Report through our CRN app, TuneIn Radio, Nobex, Stitcher, UTunes, or AHA Radio, and start planning that unforgettable weekend in the wine country. They're in your corner on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and many other apps. And of course, you can always listen live through your local cable TV provider, as well as on our website at crntalk.com. For more information on where to listen to these great shows, along with many others, log on to crntalk.com and create your own listening experience today.
The radio channels. The radio channels. CRN.
More news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Val Dior. The number's still unclear, but Haiti's Civil Protection Agency is putting the death toll in Haiti now at nearly 800, and now 2 deaths reported in Florida from Hurricane Matthew, one when a tree fell on top of a woman's home. More than 1 million people across Florida without power. Now, our partners at srnnews.com have some information. There's a banner up at the top of the website on how you could donate if you're so inclined. To our partners, Food for the Poor, they're already on the ground in Haiti to provide food and medical help to those in need. National Hurricane Center Director Rick Knabb says Hurricane Matthew continues to inch up the nation's southeastern coast.
The new forecast track has a forecast point on 8 a.m. Saturday morning that is almost right on the coast of South Carolina. And when you're talking about where the hurricane's center might be overnight tonight, dangerously close to the coast of southeastern Georgia.
National Hurricane Center Director Rick Knabb. The U.S. has officially blamed the Russian government for the hacking of political sites and accused Moscow of trying to interfere with the upcoming presidential election.
Pressure has been mounting on the Obama administration to call out Russia for the hacking of U.S. political sites and email accounts. A senior Obama administration official said the U.S. would respond, but retaliation may not take place in the open. Federal officials are investigating cyber attacks at the Democratic National Committee and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Election data systems in at least 2 states have also been breached. Dennis Crowley, Washington.
Stocks ended slightly lower on Wall Street, giving the market its first weekly decline in a month. The government report showing steady hiring last month fell below forecast, but not enough to take an interest rate hike from the Fed later this year off the table. The Dow down 28, S&P down 7, NASDAQ down 14. Townhall.com.
Hey there, this is Eric Metaxas. Lately, I've been telling you about Liberty University's online degree programs. Liberty University is the world's largest Christian university with over 95,000 students studying around the world through Liberty's online programs. While there are a lot of universities who've jumped into online education, few can deliver on the promise of a quality education with such flexibility, and even fewer can actually point to a graduate of their online program like my friend Morgan from Nashville.
I did it. I actually got my degree from Liberty University. 2 degrees, actually. Not only has this process taught me self-discipline, I've also learned that it is never too late to fulfill your dreams. And I did it all online. I did it, and you can too.
Call Liberty University now at 800-424-9595. That's 800-424-9595, 800-424-9595, or visit liberty.edu/online. Flexible, affordable, possible. Liberty University Online.
Many of you, including myself, have already gotten those really annoying IRS phone calls, supposed IRS phone calls on your cell phone. Well, police in India arrested 70 people, and they're investigating hundreds more in an IRS tax scam. Correspondent Linda Kenyon has the details.
9 call centers near Mumbai were raided by Indian authorities, where employees were charged with impersonating IRS workers. The workers allegedly threatened victims in the U.S. with arrest if they didn't pay. CNN reports these call centers were making as much as $150,000 per day. Phone scams have been a major issue for the IRS. At hearings earlier this year, several members of Congress and the IRS commissioner said even they had received phone calls from scammers.
Linda Kenyon reporting. Secretary of State John Kerry praising Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos, the winner of this year's Nobel Peace Prize, for his courageous efforts to bring peace to Colombia. Santos recognized for his efforts to end a civil war that has killed more than 200,000 Colombians. This is Town Hall News. A Mexican senator is urging that commuters should have the right to be armed in order to combat an increasing crime wave. The option is very appealing to crime-weary Mexican workers.
Senator Jorge Luis Preciado of the National Action Party PAN proposes to alter the Mexican constitution to permit citizens to carry guns to work in their cars, on public transportation, and to be allowed firearms at their workplace. He stresses Mexico's drowning in firearms, yet the vast majority of people who have access to guns are criminals, while average people aren't even allowed to own firearms for legitimate self-defense. Rush hour robberies in major cities are rampant, with negligible arrest rates by Mexican police. James Blair's in Mexico.
More people began looking for work last month. An influx that sent the unemployment rate up slightly to 5%. Today's government report found that employers added 156,000 jobs last month. For more details on this story and much more, townhall.com. I'm Val Dior.
CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was the location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke heart.